Welcome to Coffee and Contemplation with Susan Dunlop. Hello, I am Susan Dunlop, a self-leadership coach and 3 Vital Questions facilitator living in Noosa on the Sunshine Coast of Australia. If this is the first time you've joined me, welcome. And if you've been tuned in before, thank you for coming back. Today we're celebrating the fact that this is episode 70. And that celebration is about also who I'm recording the episode with. My favourite person from Detroit is Teri Giannetti. I met Teri as a fellow 3 Vital Questions certified facilitator back in 2021. She's appeared before on the podcast, once before. That was episode 58 in 2022. In that episode, Teri shared her personal journey and the challenges for the little girl she was who started school without English as a language. Because of how she was treated by the school system back in that decade, just a few decades ago now, Teri became a teacher and school principal, wanting to make every child feel that they can learn and that there is someone there for them. I reconnected with Teri late last year, and our conversation began with, "You know, Susan, anxiety can be diluted by acts of kindness." Followed up with, "I've written some letters." And I went, "Who to, Teri?" So Teri has reached out to US leaders like Warren Buffett, asking for people like him to open the door for her to address the anxiety that is being experienced across America. She's concerned that the final straw people come to is suicide if anxiety is not addressed. So it feels absolutely 100% the right week, month and year for us to discuss kindness with Teri. Teri Giannetti, welcome.
Susan is one of my favorite people in the whole world, and congratulations about 70 of these podcasts. I'm so proud of you in so many ways, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
I've always found Teri to be an inspiring and multifaceted individual. Based on her experiences and focus on anxiety relief, today's conversation will delve into the core of what Teri stands for. So Teri, I was thinking we will start our conversation about where did this kindness diluting anxiety begin for you? And maybe you could share some instances where simple gestures of kindness have made a profound difference, either in workplace or in your workshops or just personal everyday interaction.
I would love to share that with you. I was thinking that my Make the World Kind movement really started around the COVID time, because I noticed the anxiety in people that I had not noticed before. And really, kindness started when I was much younger, the story in itself. I remember us growing up poor, from the first podcast, and the kids in the neighborhood wanted money for candy. And I said, and I couldn't speak English, so the one child translated, and then I went upstairs and got my piggy bank and gave him all my money. And my mother came down and said, "What the hell are you doing? We don't have enough money for ourselves." And she said, "Show me your hand." And I held my hand up. I said, "What's wrong with my hand?" And in Italian she said, "There's a hole in it, right through the middle. And for your whole life, you're going to just take money and let it go through the hand. Oh. You're never going to amount to anything because you just give all your money away." And I said, "But I will amount to money. I have to make money so that I can give it away." So it really started then. And I was only about 8. But I just believe in my core that people don't need our nastiness. Everyone has their own problems. And we don't know, if we're not kind to someone, we don't know what they're dealing with. They don't need us to yell at them. That's why when I call a company and ask for help, like I did during COVID to get our TV fixed, I said, this is not that important of a problem. There's much worse going on throughout the world. However, for me right now, it is a problem. I have COVID, I have nothing to do, and I'd like to watch some of my movies. And so anything you can do that will help me, I will appreciate. And if you can't help me, you have my word that I won't yell at you. And I can't tell you, Susan, the people that turned around and took a breath and then said to me, nobody ever says that to me. So many people just yell. We're a non-entity. It really hit me when I went to pick up some food, and the waitress in the back of the restaurant was always so friendly, so wonderful. And she had a sign up that said, "Don't bark at me." And I said, "When did you put that up?" And she said, "Since I'm sick and tired of people taking everything out on me. I'm still a person. I'm not a punching bag."
What do you think there is behind that with people, that they have been taking their anxiety, I suppose, out on people?
At the time, it was the anxiety of COVID. And what I've observed is when people are frustrated, they take it out on other people. It's our anxiety being taken out on someone else. That doesn't mean that I haven't done that. And I step back and talk to my voices and say, "Stop, what's wrong with you? You might be really upset, and so many things are going wrong in your life, but that's the way life is right now for you. And it's not fair to the other person." So I'm learning how to make sure my anxiety is taken care of. One of the strategies is not to dump it on somebody else.
Yeah. And you've got me thinking there, Teri, just in terms of our work, when we talk about the problem orientation and, something's an issue and then you get triggered by whatever's going on. That's part of this, isn't it? So you get triggered and your frustration or your fears or whatever it is that will come up, you want to get rid of that feeling. So it's actually not about what the waitress is doing. It's something inside of you, isn't it, that needs to be addressed.
Yes, and that's why I believe so much in the work that I want to continue doing in workshops, in working with people with anxiety. My friend Judy and I have come up with the analogy of keys, and you need the keys. Every key is a different strategy because no key works all the time. The key will open the door for you to take some breaths to make the anxiety lessen and to also do some work with that. What is causing some of that anxiety? What is causing some of those voices in your head? Carl Jung, the psychiatrist, said that instead of telling the voice to shut up, invite the voice in, have it sit next to you like it is a person, and ask them, "Why am I doing this?" And I've done that with myself, and it works.
You told me that once. You just made me realise that I've included that in some writing that I've done. So you have
Wonderful.
You have been cited, Teri.
Great. It works. It really does work.
I've got your printout relating to your anxiety workshops, and it's about find the key to influencing the anxiety and stress in your daily lives. And I like how you've got here the keys to success. Nothing works all the time in every situation. It's okay to feel. Sometimes it seems hopeless. At times one wonders, why does it have to be so hard? Why doesn't anyone understand? I'm so frustrated with trying. I feel like I've lost my true essence. I'm tired of being the strong one. Nothing works every time or in all situations. One thing will work, so keep searching for the key.
And that key is hope. And when we work with people, we get to that point together. It is hope. Once you give up hope, the anxiety even grows. And that's where I'm worried about, not just young kids, but the some of the violence that we see in the world, and also the reaction. And again, it's the frustration in us, the anxiety in us, that turns around and throws it on others.
Yeah.
And we can justify it. We justify it by saying a lot of things. And but the bottom line is, if we can't get rid of it and we don't work on the anxiety, I am afraid that you will be diagnosed and you will find yourself in a worse position. And I do appreciate everything that a therapist does with people. And they're very patient people that know so much. But the bottom line is, if we don't deal with this and people don't see that anxiety is more normal than we think, and we can look at each other and say, that person may be even more anxious than me, but don't give up on trying, because that's the hope. And without hope, that's where the suicide and the worst conditions happen.
Your efforts to address anxiety on a larger scale, even reaching out to leaders like Warren Buffett is just commendable. How do you believe influential figures can aid in tackling societal anxiety? What were you asking him for, especially considering the potential consequences if, it's left unaddressed?
I was asking him on a number of levels, and I wrote a similar letter to numerous people. And I start off by saying, I'm not asking you for your money. I'm asking you to open a door. I am not known, nor am I Miss Social Media Queen, and we have something that is fire in our belly, and we want to share it. If we were better at marketing, if we were better, we've been told that, if we were better in a lot of ways on social media, you know what? I don't want to waste my time, no offense to anything. I want my time to be with people, adults and kids. Mr. Buffett and the other people I wrote, be the person that says, oh yeah, we know someone. Because and what I've been reading, and I don't want to mention names, is when you're an actress and you're known, and then all of a sudden you write a child's book. You may or may not know a lot about children. It doesn't matter. But your book gets up there and then it sells.
Yeah.
I think, wait a minute. That's what I need. I need somebody that they'll put their arm around me and say, go for it. I'll go for it, but I need somebody to help me. And, it's come together. I'm reading the autobiography of Barbra Streisand. Okay. And I never knew that she struggled, and so many similarities. But what she never did is she never gave up. And she just kept going from person to person until she did make it as an actress and a phenomenal singer. I'm going to write her now. And I'm going to tell her, I saw in me what I saw in you. And I need you to help me. And the people in the book that you mentioned helped you. Help me reach others.
And that's just the thing, isn't it? It's like you've started reaching out, but it's that at least you've started to reach out, but you can't give up once you've started that, because it's just the right moment, the right person, the right day with each person that's going to go, who's this letter from? Who's this Teri person? So you never know when that, the lending of hope or realistic hope can be seeded. How does it get seeded? Where does it get seeded from? By a person saying, yes, I believe in you, Teri. I'm going to make this work for you.
I really believe it's going to happen no matter what. I really believe it. I just can't give up on it, and I won't. It's my dedication. I've seen success with it. Just the group makekind.org. It's an association that believes that we should spread kindness. So this is not an original idea. So they sell buttons that say "Make the World Kind." Well, I'm using their buttons and paying them to print these buttons, and I'm giving hundreds away to people. I'm starting to see them around. May I share a story about where I saw one on the airplane?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay, so to make a short story long, two of the attendants on the airplane, there were just some subtle nuances that I noticed. Some people sitting next to me were acting like they were superior. And that goes against my belief. I could feel it. I'm really big on the gut and feeling things. And so when they said, okay, they start putting their seatbelt on, I was near the front, and to sit, I got up. And they said, sorry, ma'am, you have to sit down. I said, not yet. I said, I have something to give you. And I gave them Make the World Kind button. And I said, I noticed how you were treated. And all of a sudden, that's all I have to say. And out came these stories on how they're treated and da-da-da-da-da. And that's what we need. We need the world to be more kind. And we had a kind of a long discussion, but the plane was going to land, so I sat down. And when I went to grab my bag and to leave, they had hung the button up on the curtain. Oh. And they said, that's how we're going to share it. We're going to put it right there. And I said, wow, but I hope you don't have to take it down. They said, oh, no, we won't. Because every time you get on this plane, you're going to see that button there. And we're going to say to the people getting on, welcome aboard, have a safe flight, enjoy your time, da-da-da-da-da, and read the button. I will never forget that attendance.
Well done. That's brilliant. It's just little tiny steps is what you're taking with that. And that sort of leads me to the next part that I'd like to talk to you about, is because what you just said about that gut feeling and the, sitting next to those people, you can see beyond societal masks. And you offer compassion to strangers. That. Yeah. And that's really, truly touching when you've shared that with me before. And you started with that in our conversation, talking about how you focused on the outcome with that organisation about your television. But I know you're also getting lots of random hugs just by saying, by the way, I'm not going to be angry at you. So how do those interactions influence your perspective on mental health awareness and the need for genuine connection in our society?
There is research that says that acts of kindness helps lower the anxiety, and I don't want to take too much time citing all the research that's out there, but empathic interactions make the stress hormones in the body go down. And there is research that shows that suicidal thoughts, if you're under a lot of anxiety all the time, you feel it, you're not dealing with it, you have more anxiety type thoughts. That's the research behind all this. You can actually see on people. When my stepdaughter and I were going to this one hospital to visit her dad, and I can't tell you, one time I said, so how are you today? And gave them a button. And Anne said every time we walked into that reception area, they would come around and give us a hug. They would say, we remember you. You believe in kindness. It made my day. Everybody else is like we're non-entities, but we mean something to you. And she said, not me that believes in this, she does too. She said she saw it. She saw their faces change. Is that accurate research? I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But you know what? My gut tells me that there is work to be done. These acts of kindness that are just asking someone how they are. Yeah. Makes a difference. And you can only make a difference in the world one person at a time.
I think so. And I looked up some of the facts and stats when we were preparing for this, and there's one there in relation to this about feeling connected and supported has a substantial impact on mental health. And it says that social support, I suppose connection, more so than being isolated, sense of community can reduce anxiety levels by up to 54%.
It's all about relationships. When we did our community customer service workshops and communication, it's all about relationships. Let's zero in for 2 seconds on teachers. Teachers have to know their curriculum. They have to know how to teach. That's imperative, okay? The most important thing is the relationship, because a student will go to the wall for you if they know you care, sincerely care, and treat them with kindness. And if you don't, every detention and everything else you can think of is worthless, because they're going to make your life miserable. Miserable. I can prove that by my own time as a teacher and as a principal.
Yeah. And she's just making me think, I saw recently on LinkedIn, someone said that their company philosophy is you've got to relate to create.
Ooh, yes.
I like that.
Oh, I like that.
If you're not relating, if you're not communicating, you're not going to create. You're just going to go into drama and you're caught up in problems and all the things that we don't want rather than what we do want.
Right. And all this is tied in with kindness that helps chip away at the anxiety that we're feeling. And the world will be the world. And we can only change, like I said a few minutes ago, one person at a time. And we can't change them unless they want to.
That's
we can
right.
just influence it. We can't change them.
Your little buttons are an influencer in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go to the credit union, and every time I go in there, there's a lovely lady who has this button in her window. And she says when somebody's rude to her, she just points to it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. It's been such a big thing since COVID times. And I think the USA has got a lot of stuff going on. And I think we're actually coming to the end. This episode's gone very quickly. And I think we'll end with this question. Okay. So what one thing do you believe that individuals could do to help that wouldn't make the situation any worse in the USA right now?
Well, it would be a dream, but if everyone just took a breath and said some of the things that we're trying to say, let's be kind to one another. Just the kindness alone may hit, this is really far-fetched, but it may make a difference in somebody who has so much anxiety. It may or may not make a difference, who wants to kill.
Yeah.
What if you will never know that what you did for someone changed their path? You'll never know it. So who cares whether you know it? But maybe, just maybe, instead of taking their anxiety and shooting someone or stabbing someone or pushing them under the subway, you'll never know. And what difference does it make if you never know? If you made a difference? That made you think, didn't it?
Yeah, it just puts you into that, just to take a moment and think what influence you can bring to the day. And it's funny, I'm just going to quickly flick. I was just I was in a podcast yesterday. It was interesting. I was listening to these people and I'm just going to keep flicking until I find it.
And while you're looking, let me tell you, this is important. Be kind to yourself. Because I wasn't the other day. I decided that I was rude to somebody I cared about, and that I should quit my workshops because I'm a hypocrite, because I'm not a kind person, because I lost it. You know what? We all lose it.
Yeah. I agree. But what I was looking for was interesting, and I think it might be something we could end on, is in terms of that choice to be kind without having an expectation of what that's going to do by you modelling that. I wrote these questions down is, what are you willing to be more active in? Are we interested in preventing something? Are we interested in supporting something? Are we interested in learning about something? So if you think about what you've just shared, Teri, I think people might take away from this. Are they interested in exploring what your services are through these keys to success around anxiety and stress in daily life, or understanding what goes on in you physically when you're in that space of anxiety or when you go to the space of kindness. So there's a lot that people can learn about, support or prevent, and I hope people will step up towards helping you in this generation of kindness, particularly across the USA right now.
Thank you. I'm not giving up.
No, you're not.
If it's just Judy and me, we're not giving up. I don't care what I have to do. Look out, Warren Buffett. Look out, Barbara Streisand. Look out in a positive way. I mean, I don't mean a threat.
You make sure you keep you posted whether you get any feedback from these people. I'd love to see that. Yeah, just in our chats would be wonderful. So
I think I'll write them again.
I think, they say, don't they? Like if you're marketing something, it's 11 times, but you've got to keep on going. But I know from what I've just recently learning is what's in it for him would be what you've got to look at.
Well, for Warren Buffett, he's older than me, and it would be a great way to leave something in the world besides the things that you've already left. How about leave something that helps others with anxiety?
Yeah, this is not really going to cost him anything, is it?
No. Not a penny. Except get to talk to me, and then I talk his ear off.
Actually, we have managed to not have a very long storytelling type of conversation. I think we did that a lot in our first episode. And I appreciate this is really something, I know you've got a lot going on in your life right now, that you're trying to juggle everything. And I appreciate you as the person you are. And I want to thank you for just being able to give me this time this morning just to reconnect and share what you're trying to do in such a one person at a time kind of way. So thank you, Teri.
Thank you for having me.
Listeners, as I said, there's those 3 questions you might like to ask in relation to what Teri just shared. What are you interested in preventing? What are you interested in supporting? And what are you interested in learning about? So for me, I would sit with that after I've finished up with Teri. She's just moving her cat out of the way, I believe, right now. And I'll just say I'm forever thankful to my beautiful guests like Teri for allowing me to understand them more and to share their stories. Trust that you are blessed even when you forget that you are blessed. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to being back soon. Bye for now.